Hey guys, it's Jeremy. I'm in the old 59 Chevy. Been doing a furnace install. The F-150 goes in for alignment tomorrow. So I had to just use this. Had gas in it and stuff. Just put in a trailer furnace. Those are kind of hard to do. They present a whole different set of problems. For one thing, they're over 6 foot tall. Why does a 50,000 BTU trailer furnace have to be over 6 foot tall? I don't know, but it is. Anyway, it's up and running. Hopefully everything is good there. But I'm gonna get this home and throw this trash off in the scrap pile. That's that trailer furnace. The thing's like 6 foot 2 inches. I think it's ridiculous how they make these things. It's only 50,000 BTU. Why is it so big? I think, honestly, the reason they do that is because they want it to take up the whole closet. They don't want people putting brooms and paint cans and stuff like that in there, so they just make it big enough to go from floor to ceiling, I think. I can't think of any other reason they would do it. Why not just make a smaller compartment for it? I don't know. But they're quite a struggle to put in. Anyway, it's in. I'm glad of that. Used to 59 today. I'm gonna unload it here and probably put it away for winter. Gonna be taking that in to get it aligned tomorrow. And then my wonderful children got the garage all cleaned out across town. I really appreciate everything they do for me. Great kids. Don't know what I'd do without them. We're gonna be moving Eliza over there here probably tomorrow. So I'll get you guys back in here when we do that. I just wanted to stop and give a quick update on the F-150 after putting the new tie rods on that place told me I needed. And of course I went to put them on and found out I didn't. There was absolutely nothing wrong with the ones I took off. Anyway, I took it and had it aligned the other day. Nice mom and pop shop in a little town called Liverpool, Illinois. It's called Turk's Alignment. And he works there with another guy, I believe his name is Robin. I talked to those guys quite a bit, and they were highly recommended. Literally everybody around here I talked to said go there. Nobody told me anywhere else. It was always go to Turk's. I got lost finding the place, but luckily I'd left my house early enough. I got there on time. I got down there. It was a small 3-car garage. It's probably smaller than the one I've been building. 7-foot doors in it, so you're not going to get your mud truck in there. They don't do big stuff. But the only thing they do there is alignment and tires. And he said that his dad started that shop back in the 60s, and he worked there as a kid with his dad, you know, helping his dad. And he said when he got out of high school, he started doing it there, and it's the only job he's ever had. And he said he likes doing it. And the guy that's with him has been there since the 70s. So those guys have worked together for 40 years, you know, and they've got a great reputation. He says they do between 10 and 15 cars a day down there. And the reputation is built on being honest with customers and not selling parts that aren't needed. Well, that's exactly what I want to hear. That whole video I put out a while back of saying how these shops are selling parts you don't need and being dishonest with you. These guys have avoided doing that, and they've got a stellar business because of it. I'll be back, you know, for sure. F-150 drives great now. And they charged me $60, $60. How fair is that? he says, seeing as how we're out here in this small town, we're not competing with the bigger places, so we can keep our prices cheaper. Great job, Turks. All right, guys, we're getting ready to move Eliza across town to the other garage. She's going to be going into surgery. I'm unloading the trunk right now, and we're going to kind of look this whole thing over. Cooler and lawn chair and stuff I was carrying with me to the car shows. Let's get all this stuff out of here and take a look at this and start making some lists. Back here, a piece of the plywood that covered the back openings. Other pieces dropped in there. That piece I just threw on the ground goes there. Got our pad and paper and pen here. This piece of carpet I threw in here just to kind of help out. All right, let me set a stand up here so we can see things better. This piece of sheet metal I cut this spring to use as a trunk floor. We still got to bead roll it, put beads and stuff into it, but it's not fitting too bad along the sides. For the most part, it's tight enough I can weld it. I think the biggest gap I'm going to have there is maybe on this one side there might be a 1/4 inch, but I might be able to fudge it a little bit to where I got like an 1/8 on each side, you know. If I'm having trouble getting that stitched along, it won't be a continuous weld along the sides. It'll be stitched in. If I find I'm having trouble doing that because of the gaps too big, what I'll do is get me like some 1/8 inch round rod, lay along the sides, and then stitch it to the round rod and stitch the round rod to the, just make like a bead, you know, with the round rod along both sides of the car. And then I'll just seam seal over all of it. I'm gonna pull this out of here once so we can kind of see it. I'll show you what's going on. Let me show you the gap first. If we look on this side, we got a gap here. Then back here it starts to widen up a little bit. This side here, this corner's not even going down all the way, so that might be able to be fudged over. We're just gonna have to get it bead rolled and start fitting it and see what we end up with. That area back there where the old floor ends, I'm going to get some kind of flat strap or angle iron under that to where I can overlap. I'll underlap that and then overlap my other piece onto it. So I've got something under there to hold that seam together. And that'll be a solid weld across the back. We got to get some plug welds back down into these brackets, and then we need angle brackets to go up onto the fenders. So we'll do that and probably replace that rubber and that body mount bolt. We'll get the gas tank out of here, and then I want to paint with the PR15 rust coating. We'll get all this cleaned up. I'm going to paint everything on top that's going to be hard for me to get to later, and then we'll crawl underneath and do the rest of it after the trunk floor's in. But probably going to have a day getting all this cleaned up. We'll wire wheel everything, get it all brushed down nice. Like I say, the tank out of here. We'll get our flat piece of floor in our big section. And then on this, I think when we drop down and we get to this point here that's going above that brace, I got to make a decision whether to drop it down again or just go straight across. I don't know which I'll do yet. This latch up here, I've never been able to get it working. I tried tapping on it with a hammer, soaking it with WD-40. I can't tap on it much because there's hardly anything holding it, so you can't hit it very hard or it's just going to break off of there. lid is in terrible condition. It's pretty well gone, as you can see. I think I'm going to take this off of there, probably just cut it off, and I'm going to drop it into a can of diesel fuel and just let it sit in that diesel fuel and just soak, you know, maybe for months, maybe till the end of winter. But over here, I have another trunk lid. It's not perfect either. It's rusted out here along the edge, but it's much more repairable. I can fix that one much easier than I can the other one. I'm probably just bend this angle, fold this lip back over, and get it stitched back into here, back up where it's still good. And then this will just be whatever angle that is, you know. But all this up here where it bolts is still good and solid, so at least we got that going for us. And it is the right color. So it ought to go back on there and pretty well look the same. And then we'll get a new trunk seal for the lid too, and hook up that license plate light. So if we got the trunk latch working, the seal on, the license plate working, good floor in the trunk, all seam sealed in, good and tight, no more air leaks or dust leaks back there. That's our major project for this winter. That's the main thing, I think. And the next thing is going to be getting the windows in these doors and getting all of the cat whisker window channels and all the door seals on. You may have noticed I never put the door handle on this door. There's a reason for that. That clock spring was broke in that door latch, and I put an external spring on there. Where I mounted the spring, it's right in the way of my handle sticking through. So when I get this door back into it, working on the window, I've got to change that spring. And what I might have to do is weld a tab going up and another tab going up and put the spring up a ½ inch higher or something, so that the spring is still doing the same thing, but instead of being here, it's here, you know. And I'll just have to make a couple brackets for it to mount to. I'm sure I got room in there on the top or bottom or something. I can be able to do that. It's probably hitting it by a ½ inch. I don't need to move it too much, but I do need to move it. The other door, we've got to weld a new bottom in it, and we've got to weld it up both edges for probably about a foot, front and back. This door is opening and closing. Carol was able to get in and out pretty good all year, but it hits on the striker plate right down there. I think I can get it better after I get the door stiffened up. It was usable, but it does drag. So the main welding to do on this car is going to be the trunk floor and the bottom of this door, and getting the windows in. Now, I don't know, I don't want to overload myself. All this stuff takes time. I don't know how much we'll get done in the winter. So those two projects there, the trunk floor and the door, is going to probably take up most of the winter. This, I'd like to maybe get the running boards done if everything else goes easily. This running board here doesn't need much work. I don't see any holes in it, anything like that. It's probably going to need some bracing fixed underneath, but all in all, it's pretty good shape. And I've got new rubber for that. So as soon as those are welded up, we'll put some of the PR15 rust coating on them and then glue the rubber down. The one on the other side, it's got some holes in it. So we're going to have to do more rust repair on this one, but those are just flat surfaces that get covered up, so it'll be pretty easy repair. We can pretty well cut out as much as we want to, and you'll never know it. Okay, so there's all of that. I want to get the clips ordered for the stainless steel. I think I've got all of it, or I might be missing a piece or two, but I thought if I got all the clips, I would polish that stuff up and just start trying to put it on there and see if I got it or see if it's all good or whatever. And we're going to get this new hood ornament on. I've got one of those. It's not broke, so we'll get that on there. Front turn signals, I've got the lenses for them. I still got to get sockets and bulbs. We also want to get that done. With the turn signals done and the license plate light done, all the wiring is done. And then we're going to try to get a radio in that hole. It's just a Bluetooth deal. And then I've got another knob for the choke. I got to modify that stem sticking out a little bit so it'll fit on there. But we'll get all 4 of those chrome knobs on there, and then we'll have a working radio. I want to adjust the brakes. That's just a small thing. I think they could use some adjustment after driving it this year. I don't know if I'm going to have quite enough of the 18 gauge sheet metal left. If not, I think I'm just going to buy another 4x8 sheet of it. I think I gave $100 for that 4x8 sheet, and I could always use it somewhere, so it don't bother me having that around. And then yeah, if we can get the windows in there and all the rattles fixed in the doors and stuff, both doors working properly, glass rolling up and down, trunk all sealed up with the gasket on it, stainless steel trim, hood latch, turn signals, radio, and license plate light, and get the trunk latch working if we can. That's probably a pretty ambitious list for winter, you know. And I don't like taking the car apart in the summertime. This car was up and running every day last summer. There wasn't one single day that I couldn't drive it. That's the way I like to do that, you know, work on it in the winter when I don't want to drive it anyway. But during the summer, if I'm going to be doing something on it, it's going to be something pretty small. Unless I have a catastrophe and then I have to fix a breakdown or a problem or something. But oh, I want to try to get the speedometer fixed this year too. I'm going to order another one from the India place and see what happens. But yeah, I think that's kind of our game plan here. So I'm going to write everything down on paper, make a list. First thing I got to get coming is another quart of that PR15. I'll probably just order about 3 quarts of it, because I got to clean that up, and I want to do the top of all that stuff, you know, so I can get the trunk floor covered it up and not have to worry about it. And then after the trunk floor is in, I'll just go underneath and do the whole underside of the car. That's going to be step 1. And then we'll probably move on to a couple small things, get the glass ordered, and then get back on the doors. But anyway, guys, I think that's my plan. I'm going to move the car over across town today, and it's just a matter of getting tools over there and getting some parts ordered. So there's really no mechanical work I'm going to have to do. I had no mechanical issues to speak of. I want to adjust the brakes, but otherwise I think everything's pretty good mechanically. I keep thinking of stuff. I want to get that windshield division bar for the inside. I ordered a new one for it, and they sent me one for the outside, which I already had. I didn't send it back because it looked better than the one I had, so I'm going to use it. But I got to reorder the inner piece, and then I'm going to put all these garnish moldings on. I know I got to take them back off to do the headliner, but well, the door ones I won't. The rest of them I will, but I'm going to put them on for now just so they're on there. It's just a matter of taking the screws back out when I get ready to do the headliner. And you might notice I didn't include a lot of the interior work when I was talking about the stuff to do this winter. I'm probably going to keep doing the interior work and try to get more of it done, but I'm not good at it and I hate doing it. It would be nice to get the back seat in it if you had a passenger, and it would be nice to get a cover on the bottom of the front seat, but I don't know if you guys will even be able to hear this video. Wind's blowing out here pretty hard. Just about blew my stand over. Just got Eliza back across town. She's over in the other garage. So The fun's about to begin. Well, Eliza is officially in surgery. Probably will be for the rest of the winter. I came over here today. I got the car backed in. Figured going to be working on the passenger door and the trunk, so it made sense to position it this way. I put it up on jack stands as high as I could because I'm going to be crawling around under there, putting the POR 15 on. And then I removed the gas tank. I didn't think it had too much in it, but as it turns out, I think I could have made it to Chicago and back. Anyway, we can look in here now. Well, there's the floor of the garage. But I kind of got looking at this a little bit better. We're going to get a flapper wheel and a wire wheel and get all this cleaned up. I'm going to take these two brackets off here and here, clean them up, get some new rubber pads under them, get them bolted back down after we get the top frame rails coated and all of that. Get our strap welded underneath that so we got something to overlap onto. And when we get back to here, I've kind of changed my mind. I was going to try to rebuild all this. I got to looking at it, and I still need to clean it so I can see it better, but there's not a whole lot wrong with this piece right here. When I'm underneath the car, I don't really see any pinholes or anything with daylight showing through. This side over here, it's all good. When you get to this side, there's holes in this corner and then along the inner fender structure on the outside. That's about it. And then down underneath these brackets, this bracket needs a little repair right here. I think the other one's fine. But down underneath there, all that looks good too. So I think we get the flat part in the floor, terminate it at this edge, do what we got to with that. Leave this until we get to this roller right here. We'll roll a piece with a gentle curve in it right there. Then it goes flat. Then when we get to here, it's a flange down that catches the roll pan. And it looks to me like that's a straight edge. I think I can bend that in the brake. So then the whole trunk floor would be done except for the roll pan, which makes up the very back of the trunk. And that's what it looks like. When you're standing up, you don't know it's that bad because you can't see it. But when you get down low, it's missing. And that piece is going to be kind of hard to make. And that is a compound curve. So I got on the Google web today. Those things are $345. So now we know what we're not going to do. So it's just a matter of figuring out what we are going to do. I could put a roll in it and get the first curve long ways and then maybe start splitting it, bend it into shape. You know, it'd be overlapping where I split it, and after I get it curved around right, cut the overlaps and then weld them back together, flush, you know. It's going to be interesting. Mark done a nice compound curve the other day on a small piece. He hammered it out with on a cushion on a stool, I think. Got it to fit real nice. We'll figure something out, I hope. But anyway, I think that's my plan for the trunk right now. And you know, things keep changing, but I was going to take out this center structure right here. I don't think I'm going to. There's really nothing wrong with it. In this panel here, I don't think I'm going to replace the downward portion or the short, flat, horizontal piece. I think I'm just going to come to this curve with the new floor and then start at this curve and that'll have 2 bends in it. But I believe they're straight bends. And I think that'll pretty well take care of everything other than I can probably weld up these little pinholes, make some patches there, and then we're onto this roll pan. Drained the gas out of this car yesterday. The gas tank had a plug on the bottom of it I could take out and drain it. There's a couple 5-gallon buckets sitting here, so I grabbed a bucket, put under here. Just walking around doing something, noticed gas all over the floor, probably a gallon of gas just everywhere. So I got to looking, the bucket was leaking. So there's another one sitting there, 2 buckets, right? So I grabbed the other bucket, run outside with that one real quick, put it under there. Well, by the time I got back in here, there was another gallon of gas on the floor. My son lives here. He had holes drilled in these buckets for planters, growing something in them. Tomatoes, probably. Anyway, I got that all worked out, but I ended up blowing the pilot light out on the water heater because I was worried it was a little fumey in here. So I just relit that. It's a little cold in here today. Angle iron I ended up buying is like 1 inch, and I just notched it out on both sides. It'll overlap the frame rail back here. Try to stick this in here once and see how it looks. I think I want the angle facing this way, the downward part. That'd put it right underneath our seam. Got that piece of angle slid back in there. We'll just keep clamping it, pulling it down tight, get it welded all the way across. Got to get all that cleaned up first. I guess we'll put that in, get that, you know, tacked like every 4 inches or something, so it's good and flat. And then we'll come in here and just clean everything. Coat the top of these rails. I'm gonna take a DA sander, clean that piece of sheet metal up for the trunk floor, get it bead rolled, and then we'll go from there. I'm getting quite anxious to try to make that that lower panel, you know, that compound curve one. Been thinking about how I'm gonna do it. I kind of got a plan in mind, and I'm gonna show you guys that whole thought process and everything to do with that. If it turns out good, it turns out good. If it doesn't, we start over and try again. But anyway, I'm going to show you guys every step, and Maybe some of you could think of a better way. I don't know. But I do kind of have a plan for it, and I'm anxious to get started on it. You know, it's something that just, a guy's going to keep thinking about it until he does it. But that being said, I think after the big flat piece is in the trunk, I think that compound curve piece should be the next piece to go in, because the other piece is going to be pretty easy, just a couple bends and straight. Instead of trying to make that compound curve piece fit to that piece, which would be hard to do, it'd be easier, I think, to get the compound curve piece in and then make the flat piece. We could do a cardboard pattern for that even at that point. But it would be really hard to do a cardboard pattern for the compound curve piece because your cardboard's not going to hold the curve. And I don't even think I'm going to mess with that. I got another idea in mind, and we'll get started on that real soon. I think I'm going to wrap it up here for today. It's kind of cold out here. I don't have the welder over here yet, and probably not going to do a midweek video because of Thanksgiving, but I will be coming over here through the week working on this and getting footage filmed, and we should have a pretty good video for next Saturday. Should have a portion of this trunk floor in anyway. This is basically our 1-year anniversary. We started, the very first video I posted was Eliza Comes Home. That was November 20th of last year. So this is like 1 year later, so that's pretty cool, huh? Anyway, I think that's gonna do it for me today. It looks like we do have enough sheet metal to get started on that compound curve piece. I wonder how long that is across there. 37. We do have enough to do that as long as we get it on the first try. If I got to do it twice, I'm going to have to get another sheet. But anyway, I think that's going to do it for me today. I want to thank all you guys for watching. I know a lot of you've been waiting for me to get back on this, and I'm excited about it now. It's I'm pumped up about what I've got to do here. So anyway, thanks guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing, following along, commenting on them things. We'll catch you on the next one. Later. Jeremy.